Alright, what's poppin', people? We're back. And, sometimes I really like my friends. My friends are some of the best people in the world that I know because they bring me joy and happiness, and it's always a great time talking with them in call, building teams, doing whatever we're doing. But sometimes my friends need to be reminded of our social hierarchy within. Much like how those girls on Twitter will tell you that guys have social structures to their relationships. It's true. And here, I had to remind my man Spoo. Wow, this is way too loud. Shouts Glitchic City, though. Please? Oh my god. There we go. Ah, that didn't happen, don't worry. Anyhow, but just like how other guys do it, I had to remind my man Spoo where we are in the social ladder. And I am simply put above him. And here's why. You don't predict against me twice in a row and have me lose. Come on, man. We should have learned that from the first time I played Cap. Anyhow, I got this game versus my friend Velvet this week. And when I was thinking about prep, I'll be honest, Cap meta right now is a little because it's super centralized around Argonaut, Equilibra, the stupid scale Pokemon. Here's the Argonaut. And then one of Garganacl, y'all know who he is, or Venomicon, the book for Stealth Rock. And it's just not very entertaining having to try and play around that, because then you can also throw a Skeledirge alongside them, and then you've just got double unaware, boring, semi-fat nonsense. Obviously, as you look at these teams, there's plenty of divergence from that, but it's still very predominant within Cap, and so trying to figure out ways to take advantage of that, the main one that I've settled on is simply put, running Sun and telling people you have to try to withstand the wall breaking that I'm gonna throw at you. Because for those that aren't aware, Protosynthesis, that boost you get under Sun, it doesn't get blocked by unaware, and that's because as opposed to a normal stat change that you'd get from like Sword Stance or Bulk Up, it works instead like Chlorophyll, where it's just an innate boost that you could actually still get +6 in addition to. So, for example, under Sun, my Roaring Moon gets an attack boost. If I was Dragon Dance Roaring Moon, I could still boost 6 times and get an extra +6 to my attack, while still getting that Protosynthesis boost. And that's huge for trying to break through Sun. So, in this game, you're going to see how that manifests. So I'm going to lead with my Roaring Moon, they're going to lead with their Dragapult. Now, I led Roaring Moon because I'm Choice Scarf. And I'm looking at their team and I'm like, okay, the only lead that I don't, really enjoy for my Roaring Moon is the Argonaut. But if she leads Argonaut, I'm U-turning into my Jumbao, and in this forces in one of Skeledirge and Iron Moth, which I can always double versus. It just introduces, in my eyes, favorable lines. She's got a hard switch from Dragapult. I'm gonna just crunch, because again, I'm Choice Scarf, so I just assume I'm faster than the Dragapult. We'll see later, that may have not been the most intelligent play, but hey, don't worry about it yet. Anyhow, as we said anyway, every time this Argonaut comes in, I will go Jumbao, I'm happy about it, and I'll double right into my Great Tusk. Because neither of these Pokemon I'm too particularly threatened by. Now, I probably should be threatened by this Iron Moth, because I am getting an attack boost. It would be faster than me, and it would now have Sun, but, I mean, I guess the mindset for me there is I have, wait, no, hold on, rephrase. The mindset from there would be, I have Toxapex, and I'm an eject button set so I can then, get in someone for safe. So, it's not too bad. But I do get the play right. She goes into her Skeledirge. And here, I'm just gonna Headlong Rush. I don't really feel the need to overpredict. And here's where you see Protosynthesis coming in so clutch. Normally, Argonaut is not getting to it KO'd by that unless you've already got, Stealth Rock damage on it. And then there's, a damage roll for it. But because Protosynthesis ignores the unaware boost, I do so much. And now, I know she's going to want to preserve the Argonaut, because it's her only crunch switch-in. So, she has to switch, so I'm going to close combat predicting the Rotom-Mow to be what comes out. Not the Rotom-Mow, the Rotom-Wash, my bad. That's the NU brain kicking in. But I do get this play right as well. And I know she's probably going to want to preserve Rotom-Mow because it's her only Headlong Rush immunity. So I know she's going to switch, and I'm going to Headlong Rush the Iron Moth. And from here on out, the game is just super trivial. Because Great Tusk, anytime it gets a free switch in, is just in such a good spot. Because only one of her Pokemon now can reliably outspeed me. But, as we mentioned earlier, this mod isn't even that threatening, and we're gonna see why when I go to my Tox effects, and I take 30 from a crit. That is a Scarf Dragapult. And I mean, again, Roaring Moon would not have enjoyed that. Getting the Draco Meteor roll, it's like 6.25% chance for me to not get O-Code. So that's not the greatest. Admittedly, I do get that roll every time, because that's just how I'm built. Oh, that would have been really dire. I think she was just wanting to keep it for surprise factor later on. That's why she didn't go for Draco turn 1. Also, if you let Jumbao in for free early. Again, it's not like her team doesn't have the switch-ins. It's just, man, you gotta try and play that double switch game. Anyhow, now I know I can revenge kill. But I go for U-turn because I don't want to ever let this Argonaut get a potential recover off. And I assume that she might just play a sack here to then get the Argonaut recover off. And while Argonaut's like particularly threatening, I kind of just wanted Roaring Moon to have that option to sweep late game with Crunch. Probably not the best idea at the end of the day, because I don't think that this recovering would have been too big a deal. But think about it like this anyway. I Crunch, I Revenge Kill the Rotom Wash very easily. She goes into Argonaut, I go Jumbao on that turn. Let me, hold on, give me uno momento. Okay, here's where we go, Roaring Moon. Yeah, so I'm gonna run out of Sun right here. If I had Crunched, I then go back to Jumbao as she goes Argonaut, reset the Sun. I just then have to play around Dirge like one more time and then get Tusk in. I guess the one worry I had was if I'm just getting red and she like gets a circle throw off. You know, again, could have played a better line, but I didn't feel it was too bad. Now, I did go Tusk. I do get this 50-50 right, and I just go for close combat. And here is where I think I, like, actively made a misplay. I go for Rapid Spin here, because for some reason, I was scared of the Saharaja going for Rapid Spin on her own end, and then going for, like, something versus my Jumbao. When all I needed to do was go Jumbao. If she Sword Stances, great, I force her out. If she spins, great, I don't get O-Code. I think maybe what I was more worried about was I go Jumbao and she gets like Dirge in afterwards. Or like because I'm gonna always, it's not even about her going Dirge, it's the threat of it. Because I'm always gonna predict the switch from the Raja. But if she goes for SD and then spins as I switch from my Jumbao, it does get a little dicier. But I think at the end of the day, the safest play for me here was just always go Jumbao and it's Solar Beam regardless of whether or not this Mon wants to come in. So this is not the greatest turn for me. But instead, I take another option which was still pretty favored. I Terra and go for the extra strong Headlong Rush. This was a pretty favorable damage roll. I think the minimum was like 83. As I say here, near mid roll. So that's a little sad, but hey, it's okay. I got to go Sandy Shocks here. And here's another turn. I think I could have just stayed in. This does not OHKO with Draco, because it's Scarfed. But I think at that point I just was kind of trying to play as safe as I could. And now here, you're going to see me play this as awkwardly as possible. I was pretty, like, scared of this line. I didn't know if I'd beat it. I think when this went for Terra Water, though, I should have gone Roaring Moon and spammed Crunch. By this point, I think I felt a little too comfortable with winning the game, and so I took a really awkward route. Once it Terra Waters, I know I can just go Roaring Moon. This mod does not have a move to hit me with. It's gonna be, you know, Substitute, Slack Off, Torch Song, and then whatever Ghost move you want to run. So I don't need to be worried at all about what this wants to do to my Roaring Moon. I could just Crunch it. I'm going to always, you know, break its sub. And even if she goes Argonaut, I think by this point, since she's Terra'd, I shouldn't feel any sort of bad way about going to my Jumbao, because I'm just going to Solar Beam the Skeleton. And here you finally see me go Roaring Moon. You know, it gets through my head. Okay, well, I could just go into this mod. But instead I Outrage. I guess because I didn't want that Argonaut coming in. I guess. Because again, the mindset for me here with Roaring Moon would have just been spam, just keep breaking the substitute, keep the substitute broken, and then get my Jumbaoin to just Solar Beam. Because, yeah, I mean, I'm going to KO this, I'm going to KO this, and if Dragapult comes in, well, I'm not really too worried about Pult, personally. You know, if I have to, I could always sack something. Thankfully for me, my Roaring Moon is very well trained. I don't hit myself in confusion once, and so I do still get the line that I was hoping for. I actually make the Jumbao play here really aggressively. This could have been a terrible choke, but I think it still would have been okay for me long term. But I do get it in on the predicted slack off, and I Solar Beam with the Pult. You see just how much I do. Like, I shouldn't be worried about this mon at all. And I get my Tusk off on the Argonaut, and this just secures that this mon, even if it gets the recover off, I'm no longer worried about it. I'm gonna keep playing my Jumbao really aggressively now, which actually sets up a spike. I think trying to still play towards the Dirge, maybe being able to do something, but that's gonna require safe switching, and when you go into Skeledirge the next turn, and you've Terra Watered already, it's not really very good. And here we actually see too, I think Pult was the better play for her there, since she was Scarf with Fire Blast. Now, unless she just wasn't Choice Scarf, and there was a different item she had to give us that Shadow Ball damage on Toxapex, I'm just assuming Scarf, because, well, she's running the moves you'd run on a Choice set. I don't think you'd use U-Turn on, like, say, Expert Belt Pult or something. So, yeah, that's where the thought process came from. I think that was probably the safer play. Go into your Pult, and then hope you can force me out with the threat of being Scarfed Fire Blast, Oko my Jumbao. Because if you get Dirge back in safely against, say, Toxapex, a sub can always come up. I think by this point, anyway, I mean, I had moves I could do. Like, I could sack Roaring Moon still. You know, with a spike up, it's definitely dying to anything this Pokemon goes for. But yeah, I think this game's a great example of, like, getting a lead in a game, and then how it affords you a lot of safety if your opponent does not play super duper 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 aggressively to try and claw their way back into this. Because admittedly, I do think I was in a spot where Velvet winning was always going to be kind of difficult. I think she maybe had to make some play with, like, Camel. Maybe she had to make some aggressive doubles even late. I think once she lost the 3 here and Arg was Terra'd, or not Arg, Skeletor was Terra'd, it was always going to be kind of rough. Because then you're looking at this game from the angle of Jumbao being able to hit everything super effectively and outspeed 2 of your 3, so that's just kind of tough. But I think maybe there was an out to make it a little closer. Anyhow though, I hope y'all enjoyed this. Great Tusk is really good. Keep in mind too, in Cap, we have a whole Pokemon called Tomahawk that, you know, checks this mod really well. Even Ice Spinner does not 2-hit KO fully physically defensive Tomahawk. But it doesn't matter, because the most common defensive core doesn't have a Tomahawk. I guess you could still say that physically defensive Venomicon is also a good check, because you've got stamina and you've got a recovery move, so you can still keep yourself healthy. But yeah, this mod is really, really, really good, guys. And that's only further the case in OU. But like I said, I hope y'all enjoyed this. This week coming up, I will not have a recap of a battle I play for this tour because, well, NU comes out in 2 days from recording this. So I need to put my focus towards NU to make sure that's in a good state upon release. And by in a good state, I mean that we get resources up, because we're not doing any tiering until March at the earliest. But expect NU content, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.